Hello and welcome again to our reading of Acts of the Apostles. We're up to chapter 2 at verse 14, and this is Peter standing up at Pentecost and giving one of his speeches. He gives, I think, about 3 main speeches in Acts, and this is the first main one that he does. And it's full of quotations from mainly from the Septuagint, with a few additions here and there. So stathes is from the aorist participle from histemi, having stood. So Peter, having stood with the 11, eperan, he lifted up his voice, which is a Hebraic expression really. He lifted up his voice. This is from epeiro, to lift up. And there's that verb we had in the previous section, the apophthengomai, to give utterance to so to speak here, and it's the middle, aorist middle here. So he raised his voice and he spoke. I suppose you could translate it as simply, he gave word to them, he gave speech to them. Andres Iudaioi, men of Judea, and those dwelling, all of you, in Jerusalem. Now we get esto is an imperative from Amy. Let this be known to you. And this verb is enotismai, which is to give ear to. There's the ot root in here, which is connected with us, otis, the ear. So it's only here in the New Testament that it's a common Septuagint verb, to hearken to give ear to, hearken to my words. Uga for, now the subject here is hutoi, so they are not methusin, they are not drunk. Methuo is I am drunk. We get our word methylated and all that sort of thing from that root. So these men are not drunk, for these men are not drunk as you, Hupalambano is to suppose, as you suppose, for it is the 3rd hour of the day. So, in other words, it's too early in the morning to be drinking, so it is the 3rd hour of the day. But this is the thing having been spoken. This is the aorist, the perfect participle from lego. So there's areka is the perfect, and this is aramenon, which is the participle from that. But this is the thing spoken through the prophet Joel, so Joel. And this is in fact from the Septuagint, Joel chapter 3 verses 1 to 5. It's not the same in the Hebrew Bible, but in the Septuagint it's chapter 3 if you're looking it up there in the original Greek. And this particular edition of my New Testament is wonderful. It puts in bold print exactly what's copied from the Septuagint, and then bits that are not in bold print have been added in, which is very useful. And it will be in the last days, says the Lord, or says God, ekeo. This is, it could be a present or it could be a future, possibly a future here with no sigma. I will pour out. Ekeo is the verb, and it's an epsilon verb, but it doesn't generally lengthen. And the omega here may indicate that there's a lost sigma, so it's hard to tell from these forms. I will pour out literally from my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters will prophesy, future, and your young men, opsontai, future from horao, your young men will see, horases, this is a 3rd declension from horasis, it's feminine, it means a vision, it's one of those abstract nouns, horasis, formed from the verb horao, to see. So they will see visions. So these verbs are in fact well, in some sense cognate, because this is the future from horao, and the abstract noun is formed from that. So your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream. This is a future passive here. It's probably a deponent verb which is put into the passive in the past tense. It's from en hupniasdo, or perhaps en hupniasdomai, and it goes into the passive in the past tense here, but it just means dream. So your old men will dream, and there's the cognate noun, in dreams. Kai get. Now we don't see too many gets in the New Testament. This is a quotation, but we should enjoy the particles. So indeed, ekeo again, I will pour out on your male servants and upon your female servants in those days from my spirit, and they will prophesy. Kaidoso, future from didomi, I will give terata, portents. These are wondrous signs in the heavens above, and signs upon the earth below. These have been added into the quotation here. They're not part of the original Septuagint. And blood and fire and atmis. Now this is a third declension noun. It's atmis. If you're looking this up, it means vapor. Literally the vapor of kapnos. Kapnos is smoke. So blood and fire and the vapor of smoke. And the sun, metastraphesetai. This is from metastrepho. This is the future passive, and you get a vowel gradation as well. So it means will be turned around, will be changed. From metastrepho. The sun will be changed into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and epiphane is something like splendid or notable day of the Lord comes. So prin plus an infinitive here from ergamai. So before the great and notable day of the Lord comes. And there's one more little bit to the quotation, and it will be. So this is it's not good Greek, but this is good Septuagint Greek, I suppose, and it will happen that pas hos an, all whoever, and it'll be followed by a subjunctive, so all whoever, and there's our subjunctive, epikaleo, to call upon. So it's epikaleo, and this is the subjunctive here, all who call upon the name, and it must be a middle subjunctive, all who call upon the name of the Lord, so thesetai, will be saved. Andres Israelitai, O men of Israel, hear, this is aorist imperative, hear these words. Jesus the Nazarene, a man, apodidagmenon, this is a perfect passive participle here in the accusative agreeing with andra. It's from apodaknumi. It can mean to proclaim, perhaps set forth, commended. A man commended from God to you by, this is dunamis, is the third declension noun. This is the dative plural, dunamesi, so dunamis, by powerful acts and by wondrous signs. Teras is the, again, third declension, dative plural. So by wondrous, by mighty signs, by wondrous acts, and by signs, and then it's which, but it goes into the dative. It's attracted because it's referring back to these things, and these are in the dative plural, so it should be accusative, but by attraction it goes into the dative plural. which God did through him in your midst, as you yourselves know. Now, in the next little section here, the teuton is in apposition back with Jesus. So we have to look forward to our main verb, which is down here, an aleto. Now, this is from anhyreo. This is to kill. It's from anhyreo. The aorist is halon. It's a strong aorist, but it's being given a weak aorist middle form here. So you slew him by prospexantes. This is from prospaignumi, a pagnumi. Pagnumi is so this particular word, it means to fasten to. So having fastened him, understand, to a tree, hence crucified. So you killed him by having crucified him, this man, who was ekdoton, who was handed over through the hand of lawless men, by the designated council. This is from horizdo. This is the participle, aorist passive participle here, by the designated will and foreknowledge of God. It's a complicated sentence here. So you killed by nailing him to a cross this man, handed over through the hands of lawless men by the preordained counsel and foreknowledge of God, whom God raised up, having loosed the pangs of death. Aorist participle here, kathoti, because he was, this is Jesus, was not able, it's impersonal, for it was not possible for him, that's Jesus, kratesthai, to be held by it, that is, by death. And I'll stop the recording at this, and we'll continue this in a later video.